Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, completely exhausted, not from a lack of sleep, but from the invisible, crushing weight you carry every single day, the weight of caring just a little too deeply about things that feel like they should matter? But deep down, you know they don't. What if I told you that the constant, raging storm you feel inside, the worry, the anxiety, the endless replaying of conversations, isn't actually in your life, but is, in fact, in your mind? And what if it only keeps raging because you, unconsciously, won't stop feeding it your precious energy? Today, we are going to gently, yet powerfully, step into a truth that most people spend their entire lives running from. It can be uncomfortable, it can be confronting, but it is also the direct doorway to a rare and beautiful kind of peace. Stay with me, because this isn't just another talk. It is an invitation to finally, truly, let go. You're tired, aren't you? You replay conversations in your head, wondering if they liked you, if you said too much, if you're being silently judged right now by people who barely even know you. Somewhere along the way, the simple, human need to be understood somehow twisted itself into a prison, and the more you try to analyze and fix it, the more exhausted you feel. This video today is that quiet, gentle whisper your soul has been waiting to hear. It's a loving reminder that the profound peace you seek doesn't come from finally getting the world around you to be perfect. It comes from finally, courageously letting it go. At the end of our time together today, I'll share a single, powerful Buddhist insight that could completely shift how you see your own suffering and, in doing so, how you can begin to free yourself from it. Lesson 1. The reaction trap and the power of the pause. We often think we're so tired because our lives are just too loud, too chaotic, too demanding, but the real, deep exhaustion, it comes from how often we internally flinch at every single opinion, at every perceived judgment, at every tiny moment that doesn't go our way. We unconsciously brace ourselves against the world, as if it's perpetually out to harm us. But what if the real struggle isn't the world itself? What if it's our rigid, unspoken expectation that it should always feel gentle? In the timeless wisdom of Buddhist teaching, the mind is often compared not to a mirror, but to a basin of still water. When the water is undisturbed, it reflects everything around it, the sky, the trees, the moon, perfectly, exactly as they are. But if you stir that water with anger, with pride, or with fear, everything becomes distorted and unclear. The disturbance you see isn't coming from the world. It's coming from within. You're not just reacting to what happened. You're reacting to how it violently violated the hidden story your mind was so desperately clinging to. So, the real question is this: why does the single, passing glance from a stranger, a misunderstood text message, or a forgotten thank you have the power to send you spiraling for hours? The answer isn't that the world is inherently cruel. It's that our own ego quietly, stubbornly insists that the world should be kinder, that it should agree with us, that it should respect us, that it should validate us. And when it inevitably doesn't, our mind declares the silent, internal war, not on them, but on ourselves. Here is where the sacred practice begins, not with a forced, artificial silence, but with a simple, conscious space. What if, the next time you feel that familiar, hot surge of reaction, you don't immediately act on it? What if you just notice the urge to react, and then you simply pause? That tiny, almost imperceptible moment between the stimulus and your response, that is where all the ancient wisdom lives. That pause is not a sign of weakness. It is the very birthplace of your awareness. The Buddha never asked us to be emotionless. He asked us to be free. And true, lasting freedom begins the very moment we stop letting every single careless word from the outside world drag us into an exhausting, internal emotional battle. You can feel a wave of anger rise within you without letting it speak for you. You can witness your own pain without becoming it. This isn't a form of cold detachment. It's a form of profound clarity. Because the less you desperately need to prove something to the world, the more genuinely at peace you will be within it. Lesson 2. The invisible strings and the peace they steal. You say you're in control of your own life, but if you were to pause long enough to truly, honestly observe yourself, you might begin to notice a series of subtle, almost imperceptible movements in your life that aren't entirely yours. You wake up, and perhaps before you've even taken a conscious breath, you instinctively reach for your phone. You say yes with your mouth while your entire body, your very soul, is screaming no. You find yourself performing, pleasing, pretending, and you don't even realize why you're doing it. This, my friends, is not freedom. This is a quiet, comfortable form of conditioning. Invisible, energetic forces, the expectation of others, the fear of judgment, the deep-seated need to be needed, have been silently, powerfully shaping your choices for years. Like invisible strings on a puppet, you didn't consciously choose them, but they have, for a very long time, been choosing your responses for you. The Buddha didn't teach us to escape the world. He taught us to find clarity within it. And that clarity begins the very moment you stop asking, "What's wrong with the world?" and you start courageously asking, "What am I believing about myself?" without even questioning it. Look closely. That immense pressure you feel to be perfect, that gnawing fear of falling behind, that compulsive, often exhausting urge to prove yourself, these aren't just random, passing feelings. They are patterns. They are old, outdated scripts. They are deeply ingrained reflexes from a mind that was taught long ago that it had to earn its peace through relentless effort, through constant attention, and through a desperate need for control. But here is where the profound shift begins. Once you can clearly name the pattern, you are no longer hopelessly lost inside of it. You become the observer, the one who can finally see the string, not just the one who is being unconsciously pulled by it. Try this. The next time your chest tightens over a critical comment, or you feel that familiar, anxious urge to explain yourself for the 10th time, don't resist it, don't fight it. Just gently, curiously ask yourself, what am I truly chasing right now? Whose approval am I so desperately trying to keep? What deep, underlying fear is this strong emotion trying to defend? That is how you begin to cut the strings. True minimalism isn't just about letting go of physical objects. It's about courageously letting go of all the internal noise. It's about refusing to carry every single thought that passes through your mind as if it's a direct order you must obey. It's about giving yourself the profound, sacred permission to not always respond, to not always react, to not always defend, because you were not meant to live your life on autopilot. You were not meant to be a pale, distorted reflection of everyone else's demands and expectations. You were meant to wake up, to stop running the old program, and to finally, consciously choose. Lesson 3: The Art of Letting Go, where real peace begins. We live our lives as if holding on tighter will somehow save us. As if our white-knuckled grip on people, on plans, on our perceptions, will somehow guarantee our peace. But the harder you hold on to anything, the more life seems to resist. It's like trying to catch the wind with closed fists. You just end up tired, tense, and completely empty-handed. Have you ever wondered why you feel so incredibly drained? Even on days when nothing particularly dramatic is happening, it's often because your mind is always clutching onto outcomes you can't truly control, clinging to the deep-seated fear of being misunderstood, holding onto the endless, heavy weight of needing to get it right. The timeless wisdom of the Buddhist path doesn't promise you a perfect, problem-free life. It simply, lovingly invites you to stop demanding one, because our suffering is very rarely found in the things we lose. It is almost always born in the tight, desperate grip that refuses to let go. The truth can be uncomfortable, but it is also profoundly liberating. You do not need to fix every single misunderstanding. You do not need to prove your good heart to people who have already decided who you are. And you certainly do not need to make everyone around you happy. That is not your burden to carry. It never was. What if true, lasting peace isn't something you finally earn by getting everything in your life right, but rather something that naturally, gracefully appears when you finally stop trying so hard? Imagine your mind is a vast, open sky, and every single worry, every judgment, every expectation is a balloon you are clinging to. One by one, with conscious intention, just let them go. Watch what happens. The sky doesn't collapse. It simply, beautifully clears. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you learn to care more wisely. It means you consciously, deliberately choose where your precious energy flows, and what truly, deeply deserves it. You don't have to shrink your heart. You only need to loosen your attachments. Start with small, courageous rebellions against your own conditioning. Don't feel the need to chase down every single notification. Don't feel obligated to answer every single critic. And stop trying to explain your soul to those who are only capable of hearing noise. Protect your inner stillness as if it is the most sacred, most precious thing you own, because it is. And this sacred act of letting go, of unhooking from the drama of the mind, opens up a profound new question. Once we stop identifying with the storm of our thoughts, who do we become? What is left when the noise finally fades? That, my friends, is the journey we will embark upon right after this. So, We have come to understand that our true power lies not in forcing life's hand, but in learning to trust its intelligent, benevolent flow. We've learned to observe our minds like a still lake and to align our energy like a compass finding true north. But how do we maintain this beautiful, serene state when the pressures of the world feel overwhelming? This is where the deeper, more subtle practices of Zen and Buddhist wisdom truly come to life. Beginning with a profound lesson from one of nature's greatest teachers. 5. Be empty like the bamboo, to be filled by the wind. Sometimes, my friends, the very reason you feel so stuck, so heavy, so perpetually burdened, isn't because life is actively holding you back. It's because you are holding on too tightly. You're holding on to specific outcomes, to outdated identities, to heavy, self-imposed expectations that were never truly yours to begin with. Imagine a closed, clenched fist trying desperately to grasp the wind. The more you clench, the more the very thing you seek, peace, flow, freedom, slips away, leaving you with nothing but the ache of your own effort. But now, I want you to picture the tall, elegant bamboo. It is incredibly strong, capable of withstanding the fiercest of storms, yet it is also completely hollow on the inside. It bends gracefully, almost like it's dancing in the harsh winds, but it never, ever breaks. It is empty, but it is not weak. It is open, but it is not needy. And precisely because of that beautiful, spacious openness, it is able to flow with the wind instead of rigidly, foolishly resisting it. The timeless wisdom of Buddhism teaches us that real, enduring strength is not measured by how much you can carry, but by how much you are gracefully, courageously willing to release. In the end, only 3 things truly matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you were able to let go of the things that were not meant for you. But most of us don't live that way, do we? We chase more, we grip harder. We tell ourselves that we cannot possibly rest until everything in our lives finally falls perfectly into place. But that constant pressure, that anxious attachment, is the very thing that creates the suffering we are so desperately trying to avoid. So, ask yourself now, with radical honesty, what beliefs or desires am I gripping onto too tightly in my life? Is it the deep, burning need to prove my worth to others? Is it the rigid, inflexible idea that my success must look a certain way? Is it the deep, primal fear that if I stop pushing for even a single moment, everything will fall apart? These thoughts aren't just harmless, passing mental noise. They are weight, and carrying them keeps you from being able to receive what is truly, divinely meant for you. There's a wonderful Zen story of a student who came to a wise monk. Desperate for clarity, the student spoke endlessly, his words tumbling out in a torrent, about his problems, his plans, his pain. Finally, the monk began to pour a cup of tea for him. He poured, and he poured, until the tea spilled over the edge of the cup and onto the table. The student, alarmed, shouted, "Stop, it's overflowing, no more can go in." The monk looked at him with a gentle, knowing smile and replied, "Exactly, you are like this cup, so full of your own opinions, your own fears, your own expectations, that there is no room for anything new to enter. Empty your cup. This is the sacred path of detachment. It's not about rejecting life, but about courageously clearing out the inner noise that prevents you from fully, joyfully living it. It means consciously choosing a state of inner stillness over a state of mental obsession. It means allowing for a sacred, empty space instead of frantically filling every single silence with more worry. It is the profound understanding that needing nothing opens the beautiful doorway to receiving everything. When you become empty, like the hollow bamboo, the spirit of the universe can finally, freely move through you. 6. Let your stillness be your thunder. We live in a world that is deeply, fundamentally afraid of silence. Every single moment, it seems, is filled with alerts, with noise, with the compulsive, anxious urge to speak, to scroll, to react. But what if the very answers you so desperately seek are not hiding in more motion, but are, in fact, patiently waiting for you in the profound, resonant power of stillness? Stillness is not emptiness. It is certainly not weakness. It is the silent, gathering thunder beneath the surface, the very force that quietly, over eons, shapes mountains. A Zen master once said, "Silence is an empty space. Space is the home of the awakened mind, and it is in that sacred, spacious home that your real power truly begins." Burnout, my friends, doesn't just come from doing too much. It often comes from being too disconnected. Disconnected from your breath, disconnected from your purpose, disconnected from your own inner truth. You move fast, you rush, you hustle, desperately hoping that speed will somehow lead you to clarity. But it never does. Clarity doesn't come from frantic motion. It comes only when the dust of your mind is allowed to settle. And it can only ever settle in a state of stillness. Think about it. A muddy, turbulent river doesn't become clear when you stir it more vigorously. It becomes clear only when it is allowed to be still. The very same is true for your mind. You might say you feel lost, uncertain, or overwhelmed, but I invite you to ask yourself this, with radical honesty: what am I truly avoiding by filling every single moment of silence with more noise? Often, the answer is a fear of hearing what's real, because in the profound quiet of true stillness, you finally, truly meet yourself, and that is where all real transformation begins. This isn't about you having to go and sit in a cave for years. It's about consciously, lovingly weaving intentional moments of stillness into the fabric of your day. 5 conscious, deep breaths before you respond to a difficult email. A silent walk in the park without your phone. A single morning where you don't immediately rush to check your notifications. These small, sacred practices of stillness don't make you less productive. They make you infinitely more aligned. And from that deep, powerful alignment, your energy becomes focused, your decisions become clearer, and your very presence becomes magnetic. Stillness is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of awareness. It's the moment you stop chasing, you stop performing, and you finally, truly listen. And what you hear in that quiet may not be the booming voice from the heavens, but a simple, quiet knowing, the kind of deep, in a certainty that no amount of external validation can ever offer you. Your power doesn't lie in how loud you are, but in how centered and calm you can remain when the entire world around you is loud. 7. Heal the inner mirror to reflect a brighter world. When you look into a mirror that is covered in a thick layer of dust and grime, what do you see? You see a distorted, unclear reflection. You see shadows where there should be light. That is a perfect metaphor for what happens when we carry our unhealed wounds within us. Your external world, your entire life experience, begins to reflect your inner pain instead of your magnificent, true potential. The universe is not separate from you. It is a perfect, responsive mirror to the vibration of your inner world. A great Buddhist master once said, "You cannot travel the path until you have become the path itself." This is the profound wisdom that Buddhism offers us, not to endlessly chase peace externally, but to courageously, lovingly become the very peace we seek. So many of us try to control everything on the outside, our relationships, our careers, even the timing of our lives, without ever pausing to address the limiting, often subconscious, beliefs we hold on the inside. We say we want abundance, but we secretly, deep down, believe we're not worthy of it. We long for a sense of calm, but we constantly feed our minds with a diet of chaos and fear. We demand love from others, but we refuse to truly, deeply give it to ourselves. The profound truth is, you can never sustainably receive from the universe what you do not believe you deserve. That's why healing your inner mirror is not a luxury on the spiritual path. It is the absolute, non-negotiable starting point of all true and lasting transformation. There was once a woman who spent years of her life trying to fix everything around her, her job, her partner, her finances, but nothing ever seemed to stick. One day, completely exhausted, she sat down in meditation and asked the universe, with all the sincerity of her heart, "Why isn't anything working?" And a quiet, gentle voice from within her own being whispered back, "Because, my dear, you still think you're broken." That single moment of insight cracked her wide open. She finally realized it was not the world around her that needed changing. It was her fundamental relationship with herself. And her healing didn't begin with more frantic effort. It began with a single, profound act of self-acceptance. So, ask yourself, with that same radical honesty, what do I truly, deep down, believe I deserve? And is that belief helping me, or is it hurting me? If your inner dialogue is constantly rooted in a sense of lack, of guilt, of fear, then no outer achievement will ever be enough. You'll always be chasing and never truly arriving. But when you begin to gently, consistently affirm to yourself, "I am already whole, I am already enough, I trust life's beautiful flow," you begin to fundamentally shift the very frequency of your life. You become magnetic, because now the universe finally sees reflected in you what you have finally, courageously chosen to see in yourself. Profound, undeniable wholeness. This understanding of the need for inner alignment, for a clear inner mirror, is the very foundation of a peaceful life. But even with this knowledge, we can still find ourselves caught in the subtle, yet powerful trap of overthinking, of carrying a mental weight that was never ours to bear. And it is this very art of thinking lightly that holds the next key to our freedom. And that is the journey we will embark upon right after this. So, my friends, the journey to a calmer, clearer, and more powerful life isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about courageously, lovingly letting go of the desperate need for control, letting go of the attachment to your own chaotic faults, letting go of the resistance to what is. When you master these simple yet profound arts, when you learn to be empty like the bamboo, still like the deep lake, and clear like a polished mirror, your life begins to flow with a grace and an ease you may have never thought possible. You don't gain control by holding on tighter. You gain it by releasing the very illusions that have weighed you down. Life isn't something to be forced, chased, or fixed. It's something to be lived with presence, with courage, and with a deep, abiding trust. The moment you stop clinging is the very moment that real, authentic living finally begins. True strength doesn't come from force, but from surrender. Not the surrender of weakness, but the surrender of the ego, the fear, and of the need to control. And when you release what you can't control, you begin to powerfully, beautifully shape your inner world with clarity and calm, and slowly but surely the outer world begins to respond. If this journey into the heart of Buddhist and Zen wisdom has resonated with you, if you feel a stirring in your soul, a deep desire to cultivate this unshakable peace within yourself, then we passionately, sincerely invite you. Do not let this moment of clarity fade. Subscribe now and become an essential, cherished member of our incredible community, a vibrant sanctuary where we courageously explore these transformative truths and support one another on the magnificent journey of becoming the calm in the midst of the storm. By subscribing, you are not just getting more content, you are making a powerful, conscious declaration to yourself and to the universe. I am choosing peace. I am cultivating clarity. Click that subscribe button with the full, heartfelt intention of your aspiring soul, and be absolutely certain to ring that powerful notification bell, because you won't want to miss the single one of our upcoming explorations into the simple yet profound practices that can set you free. And now, we would be so deeply honored to hear from you. Your journey, your voice, and your insights are what make this beautiful community so incredibly special. Please, anchor your own practice by leaving a comment below. Simply, yet powerfully, write, I choose to flow. Let's create a magnificent wave of peaceful, scented energy together. Your declaration inspires us all. Until we meet again, may you learn to let go like the open sky. May you observe your faults like a calm lake. And may you always, always remember the profound, unshakable peace that resides just beneath the surface of the beautiful, flowing river of your life. Thank you, with our deepest gratitude, for being here and for watching.